the ritual around coffee is essential. And I mean like
For everybody.
everybody. The guy who goes into the gas station and just pulls the lever and says hey to the guy and pays $2 and like
Yep.
the ritual is that a person has a chance to have a genuine and real authentic interaction with the coffee. Mm-hmm. And if they're choosing to like engage this thing as the thing itself,
Yep.
there, you know, I don't know, I feel like the coffee does communicate to you. And like if you're listening and paying attention to like what was happening when I poured that water in right there, how is it acting right now? Again, like the grind is finer than what I would choose to do, but that doesn't mean that I can't like make a tasty pour over. But you have to like be present to it, you know. And I like introducing that part into people's.
And even if
routine.
you aren't aware of it, it can still taste good. You can still enjoy it. But the more you are paying attention,
Yeah.
the more that you become aware, the more you can find out. Like it's like you can go further
Yeah.
down the track of
Yeah.
like, what coffee is this?
Yeah.
What is the roast temperature? And I think coffee is that way for people because it's with you. It's along for the ride of life. And so it's kind of like this company that walks with you. And we have people that come and go, but it's interesting when coffee is changing and kind of transforming in your experience as you yourself are.
Yeah.
But it's just, for me, it's like, it's there.
It's this
with me.
companion that's along the journey.
Even if no one else is, I have coffee, you know. Even that grind difference really changes it.
It's way smooth. It doesn't have that like bite on the end at all.
Yeah.
Well, should we go over and sit down?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. We are.
I think you better sit in that one.
Okay.
Are we Erik and Becky from Thinkwell?
We are.
We are Erik and Becky from Thinkwell.
Someone was asking me that walked into the shop the other day, said, "What is Thinkwell?"
I always, like when people ask that, I'm always immediately start talking about roasting.
Yep.
Like I'm immediately like, well, we roast coffee for households. We're not like a coffee shop. We're not like a huge coffee distributor. We're like, it's you and me, and we like roast coffee, and
We drink coffee. We
drink
talk about coffee. We help people.
Yeah, yeah. It's really like a huge part of what we do is like connecting people and coffee, like doing those two things.
And just like anytime you have a movement or a group or like a bunch of people interested in the same thing, then you start to have this collective experience where you can like learn from each other or have a shared conversation. And that's the part I really love. Coffee is the starting point, but then ideas about life and like just being connected to people kind of goes from there, you know?
Yeah. So then like when we got to start just roasting for ourselves and doing our own thing, there's like a change to be able to actually allow each batch to be its own thing. So
and I remember that moment when I said, what are we going to call the coffees? We have 2 coffees that we're brewing.
Yeah.
What are we calling them?
And that was like the day that we were opening the shop. We're like, how are we going
What are we calling them?
Yeah.
Like, how do we
And I think I just said like
the options.
Just say the roast temperature. So this one's 394 Ethiopian and that's 420 Mexico.
Yep.
Let's just do that. Let's just put the temperature.
Give the finished roast temperature.
And everybody
and the origin.
Thought that we're crazy in terms of like people in the industry were like, well, nobody's gonna
understand that.
Yeah, nobody's gonna go there with you.
Yep.
But I feel like it is so much more descriptive about what somebody's experience is than telling them light, medium, dark.
Yep.
And the whole thing that I'm trying to like find is what is coffee? What is coffee actually? And trying to give people true expressions. That desire has been what has formed the whole model that we have, which is not a coffee shop. We are a roasting shop. We open to the public. The brewed coffee is free when you come into our shop. I want to like take care of people who come into our shop. Coffee's free, but like we want you to buy a bag of coffee or bags of coffee. We want you to have this coffee in your house and for
Brew
your
it at
friends and brew it at home. And like, that's what our business is like connecting people to this thing that we're always creating and always engaging with. And like, to me, the process
Yeah.
feels like it's art. It is like, this is art. This is not a mechanical process of like stamping out like sheets of metal. This is an active interaction that's happening with these beans. You know, it's like making music that somebody can drink. You know, it's like you're like making a thing that's so expressive and so responding and embodying what it is that you're doing when you're roasting that turns out into the cup.
Yep. It really matters like what we do, but it's like it really matters what we think, what we aim ourselves at, because it turns into something in the world, like in a material sense, but like with one another. And so when we are deciding like how do we spend our day, how do we do our work, it's like those things do matter. It's not that you skip over them and then it's like, and then we get a good result. Or like
somehow magically, poof.
It's like we have to
actually,
attend to that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
yeah.
it really is like think well. Like this is our power.
Yeah.
This is like what aims us.
Yeah.
And just reminded like, okay, it's going to show up. It's not, it will follow us, right? And so
But
it's like, why does it matter? Because sometimes you think, why does it matter? Like, how do we live? What do we do? What coffee we drink? You know, and it's like, this is just one of the ways. But I do think that coffee kind of can embody that in ways that other things can't.
Yeah.
And so I also want to just throw it out there and let people, like, invite them, like, what does it mean to you to think well? Because it's like, I think it does connect on another level with everyone in a different way. But it's like, with our thoughts, we do make our world. Like this does turn into something. If you can't figure out what's going on, how to solve the world's problems, like with each other, it's like, let's think well. It's like
Get
our
a cup of
hope.
coffee. Get a cup of coffee. Think well. You know, this coffee that we're drinking comes from like the other side of the globe, like the actual physical earth. People are like speaking totally different languages, coming from a completely different system, different politics, different color, different beliefs. And we're like figuring out how to create this thing together. And it like it like touches all people, all classes, all religions, all everything. Okay. And we're able to have an actual product that we are here and enjoying. Like what it shows me, what I learn from it, and what it is that drives me to like keep doing it is that there is some bedrock truth as like people on this earth that can happen and can be achieved and that we can like come together over
Through all the differences.
And it's like, for what? It's like literally for you to be with people that you love, having this enjoyable experience that's like just totally normal, everyday cup of coffee. Like it's, you know, like, it's quite an honor though to be able to like be in this like position to people. Like to be people's coffee roaster is like greatest role ever. Like it's pretty fun. Thanks for talking with me.
I know, I'm like, okay.
What's your name again?
I need